Hey guys, in this video I'm going to do something that I feel the need to do as an American, as a human being. Now, on the day that Antonin Scalia died, this is going to sound sick and cruel at the same time, but I was overjoyed with happiness because that guy voted against Scotus, which is the court ruling in favor of gay marriage. He was the type of guy who said that women were too stupid to hold a job, and he was the guy who said that, blacks were subhuman, and he said a lot of horrible shit. However, today his body lays in the Supreme Court. Outside of the courtroom itself, but he does lay in the Supreme Court today on the same spot where Lincoln's body was laid years ago. Now, as much as I disagree with Antonin Scalia, and a lot of people disagree with Antonin Scalia, even conservatives, that says something. But my point is, though, is that today you're seeing the casket of a man who people disagree with a lot of the time, getting respect and praise for what he did when he was alive. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, he said a lot of horrible shit. He did. And he said a lot of stuff that are inexcusable to even make excuses for. But what I will say, though, is that he did serve Roosevelt's four freedoms. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll tell you. In 1941, in January, when Roosevelt was inaugurated for his third term as President of the United States, he mentioned in his inauguration speech, which is known as his Four Freedoms speech, that in America we have the right to freedom of speech, the right to freedom of worship, the right of freedom from want, and the right of freedom from fear. The four freedoms, which are known as one of Roosevelt's most famous speeches. And in some states, kids have to either recite the Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech or Roosevelt's Four Freedom speeches. In some states, one of the two speeches is required because they are great pieces of American literature at the same time as they are great speeches that are in Washington, in the archives in Washington, as some of the greatest speeches that an American president and American activist had ever said. But within Roosevelt's Four Freedom speech, flash forward to the 1980s, Antonin Scalia gets appointed by Ronald Reagan in his last year as President of the United States. Now, Antonin Scalia was highly conservative, came from a different time when, being gay was a hush-hush, and that you couldn't, not believe in God, because if you said you didn't believe in God, you got a in the face, because he was Italian, and Italians smack their children in the face with the back of their hand if they come out of the atheist closet. I'm not kidding. But the point is, though, as much as I disagreed with Antonin Scalia on a lot of stuff that he said, and I'll repeat again for the third time, he said a lot of horrible shit. But he did serve Roosevelt's four freedoms. He said what he wanted, and he spoke with intellect on the Supreme Court. Even though people didn't like what he had to say from time to time, he did say what he wanted to with no regrets. So that's where he served the freedom of speech part. And he was a devout Catholic his whole life. And he brought God in at wrong times on the Supreme Court. Don't get me wrong. He did bring God at the wrong times, but in his personal time, though, he worshipped the way he wanted to. He didn't give a shit what people thought about where he prayed or what he prayed for. No one cared. He didn't care what people thought about him. No one cared. You know why? Because in America, we do have the freedom of religion. And he served that purpose. And the freedom of want, he didn't want to be on the Supreme Court for himself. He wanted to be on the Supreme Court because he wanted to serve his country. And that's the most noble thing anybody could do. He didn't do it for self-recognition. He did because he loved his country. He loved his country. He had a passion for this country. That's a very rare thing that you see in any politician or any judicial Supreme Court justice in this day and age. That's a very rare thing for them to have that passion for America. A true passion to hold up to the Constitution through and through. Not cheating it, not nitpicking it, but to be true to it. That's very rare to see in any politician or any Supreme Court justice. And finally, freedom from fear. This guy was not afraid of shit. Even during 9/11, he was in grief just like every other American, liberal or conservative. He was in grief just like every other person in America, but he kept a rational head when it came to certain decisions the Supreme Court had to make for the Iraq War or to put in place certain laws for America after 9/11. He kept a rational head. He didn't say, "Oh, I'm afraid of Osama bin Laden." No, he wasn't afraid at all. He spoke softly and carried a big stick and made decisions after 9/11 for this country. He was fearless with his decisions. He was fearless after 9/11. I mean, this guy was fearless. Nothing scared him. And look, as much as I disagree with him, he did serve the four freedoms that Franklin Delano Roosevelt said what makes a great American. Now, was he a great judicial justice on the Supreme Court? Yes, he was. Was he a great human being? No, not really. He had his faults just like everyone else. But the point is, though, is that he did serve his country and he did serve it well. And look, do I feel bad for his family? Yes, I do. Do I feel bad that America lost a great Supreme Court justice? Yes, I do. But just remember, after Scalia's funeral tomorrow, that there will never be another liberal or conservative justice who liked intellectual conversation and respected opposing views. Just remember, there will never be another person like Antonin Scalia on the Supreme Court. Because it's very rare to find someone like him to do the job that he did. See you guys.